In 2020, I mean 2021, I quit my job as a content marketing manager at a top tier agency in New York. I quit my job to go full time freelance again. And the way you come out now from your job to hell with my boss, to hell with the company, I'm going to be my own boss. And you have these dreams of just doing the thing that you love, which is maybe writing. In my case, it was writing. And then you come out and you find out that this, what you expected, isn't really what it is. It was kind of like what happened for me. So there were 7 things that I wish that I knew before I quit my job. And the first one was that freelancing it's not just doing the work, it's doing the business. Like I said, oftentimes as freelancers, there are things that we love, maybe writing, you love the graphic designing, you love the UX designing or whatever, and you want to do it freelance. And you think it's just about the work. A lot of times it's marketing, it's pitching, it's quoting, it's managing clients. Oh my gosh, managing clients. And then all of that on top of the deliverables itself. What that means is that if you are good at doing the job itself, at executing the job, but you're not good at doing the business side of things, all those managing and quoting and pitching and all of that, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle a lot. Someone who is not even as good as you with executing or delivering may earn more, get more jobs, get paid better for the same tax as you, just because they are twice or 3 times as visible. So what do? You have to learn. Before you take that step out, you learn how to pitch yourself, how to sell yourself. Focus each quarter, if possible, each 1, 2, 3 months on learning one new skill about business, not just the skill itself. So maybe you focus quarter 1 on learning how to pitch clients. Focus quarter 2, and you practice, of course. You're not just learning, you're actually learning and putting it into practice. Focus quarter 2 on learning how to manage your deliverables, manage your clients, maybe manage, even outsource to people. And I'm going to get to this one in a bit, because that was what actually crashed my freelance business. The second one is money. Money, 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 money. You are the best at what you do. And so you think, again, that when you come out, people are going to line up. Maybe even when you were in-house, there were lots of people who were trying to poach you. So you figure, if I become a free agent, all of these people are going to line up with their pockets and their money, and they want me to work with them or for them. The reality, though, is that a lot of times when you step out, it's like all your leads, all the people who wanted to work with you, they just dry out. Some get lucky and they have clients immediately. And even that with a caveat, because you could have so many clients your first month and you think this is how it's going to be, only for you to see dry spell in the second month, the third month. Make sure you have 6 to 12 months of living expenses saved. Because if money pressure is something you have to deal with as a freelancer when you're just starting your career, what it will do is it will push you to start taking on jobs that are probably lower paying than you want to work with clients that you would rather not work to, and all of those things will burn you out. You start feeling like you're not good at this freelancing thing. Save 6 to 12 months of savings, but also focus on building your brand, and we're going to talk about this in another point. And number 3, I didn't realize, and this kind of ties back into the second point, I didn't realize that my mind was going to be my greatest asset. When you start freelancing, there will be times when you have everything going well, clients are lining up to work with you, and then maybe the next month it feels like everything just comes crashing all at once. Your biggest client wants to stop working because there were some internal decisions to move content production in-house. Suddenly your no one is responding to your pitches, your networking is not working, nothing is working. In those times, you might think that what you had, the success that you had, was a fluke, and maybe you should quit. And these are the times when your mind needs to be stronger than you. And I think that beyond your mind, in this period, you need a mentor. This is literally how you mitigate this period. You need a mentor who can say, who has been at it for years, and they can say, in my first year, I experienced this. Oh, I actually still experience this, but it doesn't mean that I don't close off the year as a 6-figure freelancer or as a 7-figure freelancer. Number 4, you have to manufacture your own structure because you don't have a boss anymore. And for me, I struggled a lot with this because in typical workplaces, right, there is maybe a 9 to 5, and there is a work on Mondays to Fridays, or there's a boss hovering over you to make sure that you're submitting your deliverables, that everything is going according to plan. As you freelance, you're your own boss, right? And you know how alluring it sounds to be your own boss, but being your own boss comes with responsibilities. You have to actually be your boss in the real sense of it, in that every day you need to kick yourself, say to yourself, get out of the bed. You have deliverables today. You have to work a 9 to 5 today, even though you are free. It's just, sometimes it feels like an illusion of control over your time, your freedom, your whatever. Because in the end, you need to put structure on your days to be able to get things done. So how do you navigate this? For me, things became better when I figured out, okay, you're freelancing, you're your boss and everything, but you still have a job. This is your job. It's just, instead of having one manager to report to, you now need to report to several managers. I know it sucks to think about it that way, but that's what it is. So I started to work a 9 to 5, and then sometimes even when it was already 5, but there were still some things that needed to be done, because you know the way you have to work overtime sometimes at work. I also made buffer for those kind of days in my life. I set up holidays, birthdays off, gave myself days off, and structured my salary as well. And I feel like I missed this point in the point about money, is that when money starts coming in, you have to see yourself as a business and pay yourself a salary instead of assuming that all the money that comes in is yours. Number 5, building relationships and your reputation will matter a lot more than chasing one-off gigs. And I'm really glad that I learned this early, because what it did for me was it turned on an inbound lead generation engine that meant that there was hardly any dry season. Even if maybe you messed up with the clients, right? There's always someone else out there who's waiting, because someone else is mentioning your name in some rooms, or they're seeing you on social media or something like that. And that this is not really that difficult, honestly. It's just showing up on social media, building a brand. Because in the end, if you want to consider it, who is the client going to hire? The one who is more visible. Okay, let's just dial this back a little bit. Say you're a content marketing manager hiring freelancers one day, and you get a pitch land in your inbox, and the name comes from a writer who you follow on LinkedIn, who you've always interacted with their posts and been like, this person really knows what they're doing. And right above it, there is also another pitch from a random freelancer whose name you've never heard of. First of all, you would click. I would click. I don't know about any other person, and I feel like that's what every other person would do. But I would click on the first one, which is like the one I've seen, known, and liked. Basic principles of marketing: see, know, like. Visibility, them knowing you, feeling like they know you, because they get like a glimpse into your work processes. So they know how you think, they know how you operate. It feels like they know you, and they've come to like you because they feel like you deliver results. That's you showing up online on places like LinkedIn and Twitter, where your clients hang out, talking about your results, your processes, the work that you do, and even maybe your lessons and failures. And in all of that, you get more brand recognition, which leads to, it helps with networking as well. And networking is usually where the best, lots of my clients then came from referrals. It meant that I didn't really have any dry seasons once things started to work. And the sweetest thing about working to build your reputation and relationships is that it's like a snowball. Maybe at first it's slower than outbound, but all of a sudden it starts rolling really fast and it's accumulating and building and compounding. And because now you have a lot of options, because a lot of people are coming to you, you get to charge more. Because if 1, 2, 3, 4 says no, maybe 5, 6, 7 would say yes, and 5, 6, 7 is just enough for you. So show up more often online, interact with people in the industry, especially your target audience, learn from them, chat with them, talk about your own processes. And I feel like this is a very important part, what I'm going to share now, that many freelancers start with. They make this mistake rather, because we are chasing engagement. We tend to go out, and when we start creating content about freelancing, we create for fellow freelancers instead of our clients. That's like this video, for example. If you're a beginner freelancer who is struggling and you're out here creating something like this, you're attracting other beginner freelancers who are struggling. What you should be creating instead is things like how to create a content strategy or how to write better, things that let clients see what you know what you're talking about. So the key point is, when you're building your relationships and reputation, in as much as you want to network with other people in your circle who are also freelancers, your target audience is your clients. Focus on building what would resonate with them, unless you want all the clients to leave the in-house jobs and start freelancing. So we all can be freelancers, and maybe we hire ourselves. Number 6, the real stability is learning how to ride the waves, not avoid them. I think I've said it so many times, you've probably heard it so many times, but there is the feast and the famine season in freelancing. And the strongest freelancers I know, they've come to welcome that feast and famine season instead of avoiding it. What they do now is plan their lives around it. December is usually a peak period for freelancers because clients are trying to offload their Q4 budgets, right? So that they move into the new year with having finished everything they had to do for the year. A smart freelancer would start reaching out to clients in maybe November and asking especially if you want to take time off in December, asking if they want to outsource more content ahead of December to you. Just like making sure that you're walking around the seasons, enjoying the peaks and not panicking when things are low. There are times when you have 26K months, 30K months. And this is the reason why when people come out and talk about and try to teach people how to freelance and make 10K a month based off their first 10K months, it pisses me off, because your first 10K month doesn't mean that you're going to have 10K months every single month. It could be that your average is 5K because you're doing 2K on your lower months and 10K on your best month. The goal is to take your 36K months or 26K months or however much money you make at your peak. Put in all your efforts in those months, knowing that there's a slow season coming where you can rest, plan your vacations, recharge. And that brings us to number 7, which ties into almost everything we've talked about here. If you don't protect your energy, if you don't protect your space, you will burn out. And regrettably, this is what happened to me. I had a lot of demand. And because I'm especially if you're like me, who's very, very competitive, right? You want to top your last milestone. You want to break new records every single time. If you're like that, freelancing is very likely to burn you out if you don't put systems in check. Systems in check is deciding, do I want to be a freelancer? Do I want to be an agency? Even if it's a very small boutique agency. And this is I had this introspection and I thought, I don't want to manage people, so I want to stay a freelancer. And where I made the mistake was I stayed a freelancer, but I didn't take on the workload of a freelancer. I kept saying yes to everything. I mean, high-paying gigs, 2K per article or whatever, and they keep coming, and you keep saying yes, yes, oh, $1 billion company, oh, yes, yes, I can work with you. And you find that all of that piles on and burns you out. So my advice here, hopefully, if I were to do it over again, what I would do is figure out who exactly do I want to work with. For me personally, I find that I find the most joy doing work with companies who are more like startups, who I can see the value of my work almost reflects almost immediately. Like I can see how much my effort moves the bottom line. So for me, I feel like if I had to do this all over again, I would focus on maybe working with startups. I'm not sure because startups sometimes don't have the budget. I would also figure out the industry that gives me joy, creator economy, HR tech, things that have to do with people. They energize me. I would focus on those, even though there is more money in MarTech, as we know. And then I would also say no to like red flag content managers. Is it someone who micromanages, constantly messages, wants to book a call frequently, all of that stuff? My no would be a lot louder than my yes. The idea is focus more on things that give you joy. If you want to be just a freelancer, build a capacity planner. Marijana K from Freelance Bold actually has one that I've used for a couple of years. It lets you plan your capacity. Personally, I know I can't take on more than 8 articles in a month. And even that is a stretch. 4 to 6 is like mine. So I would build my capacity based on that. And once you have all of that booked out for a month, clients will have to wait. If you're good enough, clients will wait. It's better you say no to an opportunity now and show up with your 100% in future than to take on something that you can't really manage right now, put your health at risk, put your reputation at risk burning out. Because if you do one 300K year and need to take a full year to recover, only to come back and it feels like you're starting again and you're doing 100K year, that means you've earned 400K in 3 years. Whereas you may have been able to do 200K steadily every year to bring it to 600K in 3 years. So to wrap this up, if you want to quit your full-time job and become a freelancer, understand that it is more than just the writing or the designing or the developing or whatever skill it is. It is a business. And with businesses, you need to learn finances. You need to start paying yourself a salary. You need to learn to manage people. Even if you don't have people that you outsource to, you still need to manage client relationships. You need to learn communication. No one's going to be picking up the slack for you. You need to learn time management, you need to learn sales, marketing. My gosh, you are going to expand into so many roles beyond just the thing that you want to do. So if you feel like your full-time job is I just want to quit this internal office politics and just do what I love, sorry to break it to you, freelancing may not be for you.